private college football algorithm for the weekend of 22nd, 23rd, 24th. I've spent a lot of time with the file today, updating it, trying to read it, trying to tell you what do you wager? Like we're trying to get the algorithm to kick out picks that are going to be optimal. So how do you sort this out? What do you do? This is a sample of what I came up with of teams plus points. If you talk about taking teams the algorithm thinks are probably going to win or at least come closer than the points say. This was a pretty reasonable list. And I want to show you how I got there because there's so many different things you can play. It's too much really to discuss, but I want to talk about how to use the algorithm and also look at the total point variance here because we're going to talk about some points games as well. So we're sorting this whole thing descending by projected margin of victory, meaning when we look at the results after the weekend is over, we should see as we open this up, we should end up seeing a string of wins, a lot of green here going down here, and probably hitting like 19 out of the top 20 games or something like that. We're supposed to see that. Problem is those lines are awful, awful, awful for the most part. So what you can do is you can try to pick and choose and take more reasonable lines, like take Oklahoma to win, take Georgia Southern to win. Watch out for Maryland here because their strength of schedule is a lot worse than Michigan State. Like as you go down the list, you see with those bad lines, I thought a lot of those are going to win. It's not going to pay a ton, but in terms of order, the algorithm is probably going to do a pretty good job of putting those in order. Now, where is their value though? When you're talking about looking for financial value, monetary value in the market, we can start to sort this in different ways to look for that value. And I'll do this with the college basketball algorithm as well, because there's so many games in a day. You want to do something like looking at descending by money line, which is what we're doing. And as I go through this, you start to see, well, is there value here? And should this be part of our picks? And, I'm also going to show you a round robin where you just pick a bunch of winners and winners with great lines and show you what that pays. Because I'm basically distributing out $100 for this weekend. I'm like, all right, I'll put $100 on this. I'll put $50 on this combination of all these teams plus the points. But the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the other $50 and I'm going to take teams just to win that are at great lines. So do you take Louisiana Tech? No, you don't. You don't. Their strength of schedule is -10 against Nebraska. They're also away. They're probably not going to win this game. And that 980 is kind of reasonable. It has them beating Nebraska in a low scoring game, but Nebraska is going to be at home this time. And you can see Louisiana Tech has played worse teams. So Louisiana Tech probably not going to win this game. And this is one where the algorithm is telling you because of this -10 that that's probably not going to happen. Now, of course, it did happen with Georgia State on Thursday night. They actually did win. But here it said the projected margin was more at 6 points. And the margin was not as bad here as it is here. So we're going to say no on Louisiana Tech. We're going to say yes on Northwestern. Their strength of schedule is better. They're at plus 340. So we're going to throw them here instead of the plus 11.5. We're going to change the line. We're going to change the line. We're going to get rid of the other games, and we're going to show you just the winners as I have gone through. Because I've gone through every single game to try to understand what this file is doing this week. And it's not something I think I want to put the effort into every weekend, but I certainly want to have the algorithm just sort stuff out and we can glance at it like this. Georgia State already won. Good for them. Mississippi, you got a -8 here, 10% margin, plus 210. Alabama's Alabama. They don't lose a lot of games. So this is a little troublesome, but you have a 5-point margin of victory, and we're talking about not having to win every one of these picks. We're going to take them. We're also going to take San Diego State because they're at home. These two. We're going to take Memphis because this is at a neutral site. Neutral site game. It's not even on the road. Their strength of schedule is about the same. It says they win by 6 points. Right? We're taking them. What about this stuff here? Mississippi State at South Carolina. Here's a negative margin, only plus 195. It's a tie game, so we're going to stay away from that one. UCLA, we're going to take that because they're supposed to win by 7, apparently, against Utah, although they're on the road. Central Florida, Kansas State, huh? That's a 5-point game. You take that too. Western Kentucky at Troy. 1-point game. They're a little bit better, but they're on the road. We'll stay away from that one. Notre Dame beating Ohio State at home because Notre Dame's at home. Boy, lines should be actually a little better than this, unfortunately. New Mexico State beating Hawaii with a 31% margin, an 8-point victory. I know it's in Hawaii, but yes. And then Colorado State with this huge strength of schedule advantage and a 3-point victory. So we're taking all these and throwing them in here. So watch this. You got 9 of these, right? You could do a $50 wager. We're taking 10 cents on all of them if you use a sports betting. It's going to be an app service on the phone or something that's going to allow 10 cents, but some of them do. Look at that. $19,000 if you hit all this. You're not going to hit all these, right? What happens if you lose the first 5 even? So you go 4 and 5. This is the amazing part of the payout here. Here you lose. So you have to win at least half these games, or you can restructure this wager, right? Because you're paying an enormous amount for these higher ones that you're probably not going to hit. Like this thing pays how much to 1? Like, what is this crazy? This is, oh my gosh, 12,380 to 1 or something. Yeah, right. 12,380. That's unbelievable. That's not happening, right? But what if you focus down here? What if you put $1 or like call it 50 cents here, 50 cents here? It's $43, 25 cents here. Whoop, wait a minute. Something happened. We went up to $100. You got to do it like this. Call it, getting closer, $61, something like that. Here's a $60 bet, still pays $15,000. And in this case, if you lose, watch what happens because we loaded up on the 3s and 4s. Let's lose 5 games again. Like really bad scenario. Lose 5 of them. You go 4 and 5. Now all of a sudden you only lose half your money. And if you can go 5 and 4 on these, you are definitely going to win. Right? And it depends which ones, because you could lose some down here. But if you catch that Northwestern game, which the algorithm, that's one of the really amazing picks of the algorithm this week is whether or not Northwestern shows up and wins this game. You could win even more money going 5 and 4. So putting things out like that is a lot of messing around, which you can do here. But in general, you want to look at this by order. And the other thing I want to do before this video is over, where are the total points disparities the greatest? Because that's another thing that you want to try to take advantage of because it is doing a projected score for all of these games. Right here, total points over under variance is the column that we're going to talk about. We want this number to be either a really, really big number positive or a really, really small number negative, as will be denoted by the shade of the color and how green or red it is. Like these are big ones here. Big one, 14, 14, 14, 19. Okay, so 19 was the biggest one. Well, that means we have to do something here. Jacksonville State at home against Eastern Michigan. It's saying a game that has only 32 points in it for some reason. The over-under is set at 51.5. So it doesn't think these teams are going to put up points. That's why there's a 19-point differential. So it's saying under this 51.5. It's saying under this game between Indiana and Akron, even though that's a 46. But it's saying 14 points underneath that. What's the one where we're predicting much more than they have? This -12, this one. App State and Wyoming thinks there are going to be a lot more points in this game than the 43. It says 56. So it's an over in the App State Wyoming game. It's an under in UCLA and Utah, which thinks can be a 23-16 game UCLA, right? Yeah, I would stick where there's those 14s and -12s, right? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 with 19 here. The biggest one is the is the under in this Jacksonville State, Eastern Michigan. If you're looking for premium over unders, that is the biggest under bet of the week. And the other way around, it's the over in the App State Wyoming game, which is the best over. So throwing things like that together is you're probably going to find success because, to look through all these games manually and try to figure out what the best over unders would be. You can see this is a nice way of looking at it over here. All right. So that's my advice. It's a private video that I'm going to release after the games are going on Saturday, and we'll see how everything goes. But there's a lot in here, and hopefully this will be one of the good weeks that really shows that this thing is starting to work. All right. Good luck, everybody. Thanks.